What should you do if your one wheel catches a flat tire? I've had 4 total tires on my Onewheel Pint, and so I have a lot of experience in this area. I'll tell you what I did the first few times and what I actually recommend, especially if you're on a budget. Let's go back in time to when I got my first flat and talk about what I did. Honestly, the first thing I did, I went to the internet and cried about it. I went to the local DMV One Wheel Riders Facebook group. You could see in my post that I made a lot of assumptions. Felt like if I had a flat tire, that meant I needed to order a new tire, and I assumed that a treaded tire made sense. I mean, to me, they look cool, so I was like, all right, let's go with this thing. Posting in the group got me connected with this amazing guy named Chris. He was recommended by a few people as someone who could change a Onewheel Pint tire. I still wasn't sure that I trusted it, so I asked him a bunch of questions, and he was really great and really patient. He even made a tire recommendation for me, so when I was waffling between the treaded tire and the slick, he recommended the slick because I'd mainly be doing city riding, and for city riding, a slick is going to typically give you more range and just be better overall. Whereas for those who primarily ride on trails, the treaded tire could be useful for that. I'm honestly not the type of person to stop at one solution, and I get a little obsessive, so I went onto YouTube and found this video from Ren. Ren put a nail into his one wheel tire kind of on purpose. And after putting a nail in his tire, Ren got a kit from Slime, and he used that Slime kit to patch his one wheel tire. This planted the idea in my head that I could get a tire repair kit and just kind of get back to riding sooner rather than later instead of waiting to meet up with Chris. And I went to the hardware store and bought Slime, tire sealant, and patch, just like I saw in the one wheel video from Ren. Still to this day, I've never actually used that kit. So I ended up meeting up with Chris, and he invited me into his home and installed my new Hoosier Whisper Pint Edition, and then rode back to the Metro with me. And I'll never forget, because I recorded on my Insta360 my most viral TikTok, which was me falling off of a ledge right after getting that new tire installed. I'll play it here. No, 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 no. To be honest, my stock tire, even though it caught that flat, still likely had life in it, but I ended up trashing it for the Hoosier tire. And I love that Hoosier tire. It was really very quiet. It rode so smooth, just like floating on a cloud. The one criticism I do have for it is not the most durable tire. I probably put 600, maybe 700 more miles on that tire, and then it too needed to be replaced because I'd ridden it all the way down to the threads. That takes me to tire change number 2, where I decided to install my tire by myself. So by the time I needed my second tire change, it was COVID times, and I didn't want to expose Chris and his wife Emily by asking them to change my tire during a pandemic. So I was like, I'm gonna do this one by myself. I had to order all of the gear I needed on Amazon. The gear arrived, and I looked at this video from Shred Labs and Jeff McCosker and just tried to figure it out. It was frustrating. It took me a couple of days to do, but I persevered and changed my own tire. And I tell you, it did feel really good at the end. I felt very accomplished, but probably for most of you out there, I would say it's not something I'd recommend that you do on your own. For the third tire change, same deal. I rode the Hoosier Slick, which I bought again, down to the threads. Float Life was selling the TFL Burris XtraRad, and I bought that. This one I installed with help. I was out at demo days. I didn't have all the tools I needed. It was really a mess, but Lyle helped me get it most of the way done, and then with an assist from Bruce and Javier, I got my board somewhat put together, and I actually needed to finish it at home. So ultimately, if you get a flat and you need to get back riding quickly and you're on a budget, spend about $15–16 to get a bottle of Armor Dilloz tire sealant. You can use the included tool to remove your valve core stem, depressurize your tire, cut a little bit of the tip off, and then squeeze the compound into your tire. If you cut too much of the tip off, it's harder to get it into the little hole there. Reinstall your valve core stem, then inflate to your desired PSI. The rule of thumb for PSI is to go to about 1/10 of your body weight. Here I tried 19 and I was really playing myself. I weighed quite a bit going into quarantine, probably around 240 or so, but I've been VR boxing on the Oculus Quest. The fight's amazing. You didn't come here for that information, so getting back on track. Inflate to your desired PSI and be truthful with yourself. Ride it to give it a test. When you ride at a higher PSI, you're typically going to get more range. You will feel the road a bit more, but for the Pint, range is at a premium, and I definitely prioritize that over a softer ride. The Dilloz can be used as a preventive measure. I recommend that you put it in your tire proactively. That way, if you run over nails or anything else, you won't wake up with a flat tire like I did on that fateful day where tire change number 1 happened. Looking at all the options, Dilloz is also the cheapest and probably the fastest thing that'll get you back up on your board. If you have to order a new tire, that's an expense in itself. If you have to have someone help you install it, that's an expense. Even if you have the expertise to buy all of the gear that you need to install a new tire is an expense. And out of all of these options, when you think about it, Dilloz is the one that's going to keep your board in warranty and keep you floating. So, I mean, this is not even a sponsored video. It's just something that I recommend, and I'm giving as a gift to you all because I wish I had this video when I had my first flat. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll stick around for our next video. Peace.